This story didn't happen once upon a time or long, long ago or far, far away. It happened in a twinkling land called Once in a While, where everyone always wore a great big smile. Dogs and cats and pigs and sheep smiled all day and grinned in their sleep. Curious folks traveled mile upon mile in the hope of observing the king's royal smile. And what was the villagers' honest reaction? They were ecstatic. Their king was a tourist attraction. So they all opened stores and sold everything to the tourists who came to admire their king. Then one dark and drizzled dawn, the king awoke and his smile was gone. Now, this was all right for a day or two, but after a week it made him feel blue. And after a month it made him very sad not to have a smile to put on when he was glad. You see, he liked to smile when he saw fuzzy bunnies, or listened to the birds, or read the Sunday funnies. Stores and stalls and shops were shut down. No tourist would come to admire a frown. Soon he heard people whisper, "The king's teeth are bad, and that's why he frowns." Now his sad turned to mad. If they could lift up my frown and look underneath, they would clearly observe I have beautiful teeth. All of a sudden, lickety-crack, an idea came to him and struck him on the back. "What a great idea!" bellowed the king. "I'll call the court jester to dance and sing." The king knew the jester was the very one he could always count on to say something funny. So, the jester was sent for, and went through his paces. He danced, and he sang, la 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 la, and he made funny faces. What a marvelous comic! What a wonderful wit! Did he make the king smile? No, he didn't, not a bit. "Stop!" growled the king. "You're worse than a beginner. And go to bed, sir, without any dinner." Fear was spreading and panic ran wild, except in the heart of one little child, whose eyes still twinkled and whose mouth still smiled. That made them so angry their faces turned red. The girl kept on smiling, and then she said, "I understand the loss of some keys or a hat, but a smile? You can't lose something like that." "The king has lost his smile," a young man said. "Now go home, little girl, and go to bed." So she left, still smiling, and she left alone. Now, let us return to the king on his throne. The funniest man in the world is who I need. So this funny one was sent for, and came with great speed. Was he funny? Let me tell you, He could hop like a toad, and he joked about the chicken that crossed the road. And he juggled. And he pulled a rabbit out of the hat. And he tickled the king. Coochie coochie, ha ha. Coochie coochie, ha ha. Coochie, and the king hated that. "Don't tickle," barked the king with a well-aimed punch. "Go to bed, sir, without dinner or lunch. My frown's gotten worse, and it's all because of you." Now, what in the world am I going to do? The sorrowing villagers went off to bed. All hope was fading that smiles lay ahead. Right then, a new idea struck the king on the arm, just to get his attention, not to do him any harm. The king thought it over. The idea seemed wild. "You mean I might learn about smiles from a child? I might remember laughter if I called in a kid?" He thought a little longer. Then guess what he did? You're right. He called in that tiny little girl. With eyes all a-sparkle and hair all a-curl. Off she went in the dead of night, finding her way in the frail moonlight. She traveled on in the rising sun, knowing her journey was almost done. When she reached the castle door, someone cried, "Good luck, little girl, we're on your side." Then there sat the king on his kingly throne, looking mad and sad and all alone. She was scared at first, but in a little while the expression on her face looked exactly like a smile. "You're smiling," cried the king with a painful shout. "You see something in me worth smirking about?" "Beg pardon," said the girl, trying to keep her place. "But it's that silly old wonderful look on your face." "Well, I beg your little pardon, too. Could you show me, please, how I look to you?" "I'll try," said the girl, "but it's going to be tricky." Then she closed her eyes and thought about everything icky. She turned her mouth down and wrinkled her nose, then crinkled her forehead and curled up her toes and stamped her foot and tried to look nasty. Then she said, "You look like this." And she said it real sassy. "Do I look like that?" he asked of the child. The king looked shocked. Then he started to smile. "Exactly like this," said the girl with a wiggle. The king couldn't help it. He started to giggle. Then he began to laugh, and the girl began to laugh, and they laughed until they thought their sides would split in half. They kept on laughing for quite a long while. But when the laughter ended, the king had found his smile. "Thank you, little girl," he said with a sigh. "Have some breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and some blackbird pie." Ooh. Then everybody laughed and chased all frowns away. 3 cheers for the king with a hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! An idea just struck me and it almost knocked me down. If you ever lose your smile and get stuck with a frown, the answer to the problem gets clearer and clearer. Go and take a look at yourself in a mirror. You'll smile from ear to ear, then break into laughter. And I guarantee you'll smile and live happily ever after.